It is currently December 29th, and I am incredibly sick, which, when you get sick, it's like the only thing that you desire is not wanting to be sick. And so, if you're not sick right now, that's most definitely something to be thankful for. Overall, I came to the realization that I have to switch things up with my overall plan because I am so screwed. So I came up with this goal of posting 3 times on Instagram in order to create a strong, substantiated brand that is based around marketing and creating content and displaying my expertise associated with that alongside acquiring clients through it. And I made that goal way too late. I made that goal about 10 days ago. And honestly, it wouldn't have been too late if I got a second shot at things. Like, I could go back in time and change things. But the main reason why I say that in the first place is because I, so far, only have, shockingly, 2 pieces of content that I can actually stand by and post, knowing that I'm displaying all the knowledge and understanding of good content that I have. And that sounds absolutely ridiculous considering the overall time investment that I put into getting this whole project set up. And the main reason why I say that I can't stand by, I recorded 27 videos that were short form videos before this. And I was really just putting off getting real with myself because the overall criteria, which is quite objective, that I use to judge whether or not a video is actually of good quality, which is what the entire purpose of this was, which was to do good quality content at a quantity that absolutely nobody did. But if I don't even have content that's of good quality, and here's what I mean by good quality, it needs to be simple content. It needs to be narrow, meaning that it only focuses on one thing. It needs to be not niche down, meaning almost anybody that wants to create content can watch the video. And there needs to be solid hooks. And what I mean by a good hook is it needs to explain why people should watch the video, and then it also needs to initially catch their attention. And then it also needs to focus on their pain points. But all of those aspects are determined within the scripting process. And when I initially scripted the video, I did not have a good enough understanding of those basic principles. And now you might be like, "Dude, this guy's a dumbass. Like, these principles are so simple." But when you actually get to writing scripts and actually doing it, it's a whole different story. Because if you don't understand those basic things, especially the narrowing down one, what you're gonna notice, and narrowing down basically means you only speak about one thing, or like one tip, one hack, like one main overall topic in the video. Not only are all the components of a high quality video required, but then if you mess up the narrowing one, then it's like your whole video will just go to trash because one, it's not gonna fit within 60 seconds or whatever the average video was supposed to be like. It's not gonna be memorable because you're gonna be yapping for way too long because you're not narrowed down on one thing. And then also, you're not even gonna like, people are not gonna remember that. The script writing process is gonna be so burdensome, and the recording process is gonna be even worse because you're talking about some random BS and you're going off on tangents that mean nothing, even though the whole purpose of short form content is to maximize value per second. There is a reason why there's guys like Devin Jatho in the industry, which, if you don't know who he is, he's an Instagram, like, quote unquote, like Reels coach, whatever the hell. But he has the most average views per video compared to all the other coaches. And out of like 192 pieces of content, he only has one video that's below 100,000 views. And that doesn't just happen out of the blue. Like, that doesn't just, he rarely also posts, meaning he does a lot of work behind the scenes, but then he doesn't actually end up posting all of that work. Why? Because he doesn't believe that it's up to the standard that he upholds himself to. And the standard that I uphold myself to are those basic things. And if I think that only 2 of the videos that I've made so far and actually finished uphold those standards, then the only logical conclusion is that I need to get back to scripting. I need to get back to overall creating a whole another batch of content, which is ideation, scripting, recording, editing, production, like post production. And that leaves me with two options. One of them is I just abandon the whole posting throughout 2026 3 times a day, which is stupid because I'm never going to give up. The other option is that I post only what I want to record, or like that I wish, the content that I actually stand by. And if that means I only have two posts right now, then that means that I'm good for January 1st, January 2nd to just post one piece of content that I'm actually happy about versus just throwing shit at the wall just because there's a potential that it might get a lot of views or some sort of stupid vanity metric. But the reason I'm not going to just toss a bunch of BS onto my page is because there's this concept of brand equity. And there are brand equities basically, like, this is a very dumbed down explanation, but whenever you provide some sort of value to your audience, they associate you with a level of respect or like equity. You can just call it that. Like they associate you with the level of value. And whenever you do these two things, which is either you ask for something like a CTA, like a hard CTA, or you make shit content, then it doesn't help anyone. It only just further diminishes whatever it is that you started or wanted to do in the first place. So now the option that I'm going to go with is January 1st and January 2nd. I'm going to post the two videos that I have, one post a day. And so unfortunate that I actually ended up getting sick, because if I wasn't sick, then I would have just speed ran another whole batch of content between today and tomorrow, and then I would have been good for the entire January, and then that way I would be able to catch up with the whole year. But I am so sick that right now, I don't know if the camera picks it up, but if I record, it's most definitely going to pick it up, and it's also really, really hard to even speak in the first place. So I am severely handicapped, but that is something that I should be thankful for two reasons. One, it gives me a larger chance of being able to face a higher degree of pain so that I could look back at it and say like, oh, I've been through that experience of getting really sick and having a big project and not knowing what like decisionary action to make. And then I would be able to use that as a motivating factor for getting over future humps or challenges. But then there's also this aspect of I am now given time while I'm sick. I mean, to be honest, I've just sat in my bed all day. I haven't done anything because like I'm dying. But basically, I have the time now to plan and script, which is exactly what I wanted to do. So that as soon as I'm not sick, which maybe sometime this week is going to happen, hopefully January 2nd, I'm going to be able to slam out all the things that I can prepare right now, going over from Miro boards to scripts. Then even if I can't record because I'm handicapped in my voice, I can most definitely plan in the back end of things. And that is really where all the magic happens. I mean, if we look at anything great in history ever made, even like, let's take, for example, Alex Hormozi's book launch. He spent 4 years working on that one book that ended up breaking the money model shit that broke $106 million dollars in sales in the first 3 days, Guinness World Record. He spent 4 years working in the dark for that book, and nobody ever knew about it. So it's in the dark, the things that you do that eventually end up coming to light and being the most substantial and positive drivers of growth. And so overall, I don't think I've screwed myself because I spent so long working and also like working internships and also all the money that I made from business, which is not a lot. Like I'm not anything. But basically, I can extend the amount of time that with the small amount of living expenses that I have to pay, obviously living with my family, that's a cushion that I can rest on. Essentially, I am thankful and lucky for having this opportunity in the first place. And because I worked in the past, I cannot let that go in vain, meaning now I have to lock in and really make something out of that. If I really want to make something out of that, then I need to execute on this decision very well. Meaning, I need to get to script writing and changing that whole planning process to adhere with the overall terms that I initially made, which is the judges for what a high quality video is. And that way I can live with the actual image that I make of myself online. Even beyond the filters of what makes a high quality video, there's another filter, which is that some videos are just not something I would say, or like quote unquote cringe. And I hate the word cringe because if someone else tells you that something is cringe, it's like an illogical word, meaning the only logical definition of cringe is me living my life the way in a different way than how somebody else would live their life, and therefore they call it cringe. But if you really ask anyone why they would call a certain thing cringe, then their reasoning is often just circular. They say it's cringe because it's cringe. Like there's no reason behind why they say that. Or maybe it's jealousy, insecurity, whatever. But I think you are the only determiner of whether or not something is cringe based on how well it aligns with your overall characteristics. More specifically, I made this one video where I was basically copying a guide like straight up, and I didn't even like I used to be so ass just a few months ago at script writing and actually coming up with an effective video. And really coming to terms with that is something that will help me grow extremely exponentially in the future, because post-production and editing really does not matter, or really nothing in the entire content process matters as much as script writing. Because script writing, you can put an idiot in front of the camera and make them say the right things and they will look like a genius. But overall, that's probably my plan going forward. Yeah, that's about it. Peace.